So you want to remember, you can do something different than the photo. You're doing it.
Uh-huh.
You're painting the painting, not the photograph. So you have to make adjustments. So if you have those pines back there, that means those rocks are going to be in shadow somehow.
Right. And in this one, I just slapped in a bunch of sunlight on the basis of
Yeah, I
I want to
understand.
get to my rocks. I didn't want to
Yeah,
spend time on it.
and
And
then you
this
got,
one,
but
I
on the second one there that you just showed us, the one
yeah.
before that, your rocks going straight down the waterfall on an angle are too much the same. And
Oh, okay.
you're doing the same thing on that one, but they're like two, two, and two, and then two,
Oh,
three up on
I
top.
see.
Yeah, and then you have
Well,
a straight line of rocks on that one,
Like a road.
yeah,
like
yeah,
little
yeah.
stepping stones. This one is better, but it's
Mhm.
very, very correctable.
Very what?
It's very correctable. You just
Yeah.
need to take the
Oh,
rocks in the background, show a
uh-huh.
little bit more variety, put those certain rocks in cast shadow back there that are underneath the pines.
Okay.
Pine bough that's overhanging the waterfall needs to be darker. Remember, your
Okay.
darker nearest you, and they get lighter as they go away, where the lights are lighter nearest you and they get darker as they go away. So they become a little bit more closer together in value. And if you were doing a mountain scene and you're standing on top of the mountains in the distance become almost one value because the lights and the darks start converging.
Okay. I was going to have light coming from the back. I mean, that's why it's so light back there. I
If
have a little spot of
if
sunlight.
it's backlit, it's still, you're going to have more shadow if it's backlit up front.
Okay. Okay. Would it be better not to do backlit? Is that
Depends
just,
on what, do you have the photograph that you can show me?
yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe that's just a distraction, the backlit part.
All right. You see all the rocks, they're not as light as what you have them.
Uh-huh.
In the
Mhm.
foreground, most everything is in shadow except for the few rocks on the right-hand side,
Okay.
which is your left.
Yeah, over here.
Yeah, there's a few rocks in there that are receiving
Yeah.
what I
But,
call
but
reflected light. They're not
they
too
are getting light from back here.
well. It's
But we
getting
don't.
light from above, but there's more open space in the background that's receiving more light.
Okay. Okay. So the whole backlit stuff is just kind of beside the point. Don't
Right.
don't mess with it.
Yeah.
Focus on the light that would be hitting
You
these.
know what? If you send me that photograph in the next 5 weeks, I'll put it in the one of the five paintings.
I'd love that. That would be really useful to me.
It's only it's only
I second it. That would be super fun.
it's only
Yeah, the
I'll-
photo was taken by a friend of mine. It's a very specific waterfall in Colorado,
uh-huh.
and let me get her permission. She gave me
Yeah.
permission to paint it.
Yeah.
But I would really like,
Oh, sure.
know,
Not a problem.
to have it be a
Yeah, I can
connected.
always take one out that I've planned and put that one in.
And when you get the permission, if you could forward that email to us so we can keep it in the file.
I will. Oh yeah. So you have permission
Yeah.
too.
Right. So if you win the lottery and wind up buying it in the Bahamas and we never see you again, at least we've got our butts covered.
Good. Yeah. Right. Okay. Good. Well, that would be an excellent outcome. Meanwhile, I'll continue to play around on my own.
Yeah, and
And
I may select different colors than what you did, but
uh-huh.
that should be fine. It shouldn't be a problem.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't like these colors here. My first version, I switched them out for kind of reddish, and I actually like reddish.
Yeah,
But
but they're a little bit too red.
yeah, that's what.
They're actually foreign color to the scene, so you have to be
Okay.
kind of careful about
Okay.
how much of that red you're showing.
Okay.
If you get permission for me to do it,
Yes.
I'll show you on how I would approach the problem.
Fabulous. I would really like that.
$6.
Yeah. Okay.
And Judith, it's great that you didn't paint the photo. You really did paint the painting.
Yeah.
And you created your own, you used it as inspiration. You didn't like just totally try to recreate it, which is what Dale always tells us and what he always shows
Well,
us. And I feel like you're doing it for the team, all this stuff you do and show. It's like here I've been like straggling this whole time, and you're like every time you're like showing something and get the paintings done, and I'm like, go Judith, do it for the team.
Yeah.
Janet. Okay, great. Well, we'll take the next steps on this one.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Janet, this was the last night's Facebook Live that I did. It's 3 colors. It was burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, and raw sienna.
Wow, that's fun. I haven't done that one with you before.
This was a new one. This is somewhere on the shores of Lake Superior.
And I'm going to make it a steady habit now to post them on YouTube, because Facebook is only keeping the videos up for 30 days and then they knock them off. So I'm going to keep them on YouTube. And I've told Dale every Friday after Watercolorscape Wednesday, I'll have them up.
So you can still watch it.
And you can paint it too, because you'll get the worksheet.
I've still got to work on our paintings from class. I keep thinking, okay, this week's I'm going to get done. And oh my gosh, you've had such great ones this 5-week session. Some of these that you've done have just come out so outstanding, which is so inspiring, but I just unfortunately didn't work out for me.
So I have a question. The new format, the rebranding of Dale's emails.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys like those better? Were they a little easier to read?
They're fine, but I was not picking up that much difference.
Right.
It was fine before. So
the big purple boxes are a big change. There was those big purple boxes that would say, here's where you're.
Okay.
Yeah, I almost liked that better, and it might be because I'm used to it. So when I was just getting on now, I actually, it took me a little bit more time to find it. But that's just knowing that, this is where it is now. That's not up there anymore.
I highlighted, but not so bold. I have to tell you a secret. I've been playing with ChatGPT, and with Grok. So I put it into Grok to say, give me the good, the bad, and the ugly about the design. And it's very honest. And a couple of things I didn't agree with, and so I didn't do it. But the biggest thing was, and plus the parameters were, I want to make it easy to read for people that are mid-50s plus.
Who's mid-50s plus?
And I also want it friendly for people that are in their 30s and 40s.
Well, that's where we're at.
So 2 things, Mary Lee. One thing. So, that email we have to go back to. Like, I go to those emails twice. First, to get the reference material, and second, to get the video link on the day of class. So to scroll all the way down to get that link, it would be better if those links were more forward and higher up rather than, down below. So, because you can just, by the time you've seen it once or twice, you know what you're looking for. So you want to be able to get to these things that much faster.
All right. So I'll just move it up. That's good. Good feedback.
Yeah. That would be my only suggestion.
And as you're looking at them, if you see anything else, you two, just let me know, because I want to make it so it's easy for you guys. And
good. Mary Lee, what did you say a minute ago about like last night's video? How do I access it?
You're going to access it on Friday. I'm going to be sending out an email giving the YouTube link.
A YouTube link?
Yeah, because I'm going to upload it to YouTube, because Facebook says that they're not going to keep your videos up forever. Only 30 days, and then they're knocking them off. Well, just the videos they must be storing. So
that's great.
put on YouTube, and then that way more people will see it, and Dale's YouTube channel will get bigger, hopefully. And
Yeah.
And that's just for the videos for your Facebook Lives.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, you get good turnout for that Wednesday.
yeah, let's
Yes.
see. In the summer, it's not as good as the winter, which is expected. But he had 32 people show up, which is pretty good. But then
Oh my gosh.
I looked this morning, and 110 people watched the video.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
isn't it though?
Oh my gosh, you're a superstar. What we need.
We're trying.
Mary Lee is.
And then I'm still playing with that grok, and I said, okay, I want to increase Dale's volume on YouTube. And so I said, give me, break it down to a step-by-step strategy that I could accomplish in a month. And it gave it to me. It's really wild how this thing can think.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
told Dale, I don't think that, like we have a friend that works for Amazon and the support. She lives up here. She works from her home. She told me in genealogy class a couple of weeks ago that Amazon has announced they're getting rid of their support and they're going all AI. And they didn't know about it. It's 230,000 people. But the human resource department called a blue flu, and they all didn't show up one day in protest.
Wow.
So
Serves them right.
So I listened to all these people talk about artificial intelligence, and Glenn Beck said, hold on, because in 18 months, our whole world is going to change. And,
Wow.
And I told Dale, I think they said that the big things that won't be touched by AI is people that have real community, touching people with things that are tangible and that they can physically do with their hands. And so I told Dale, that's your Zoom classes, and it's teaching workshops. So, all right, Dale's ready.
We are recording.
You are?
Okay. All right. We are using ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, sap green, raw sienna, and brown madder. So I'm going to start with the sky, of course, and it's on the grayer side. So I'm going to take the cobalt blue and a little bit of the raw sienna. And it's not a very dark sky, but it does complement some of the warm colors in there. So I want to mix that up. And I'm going to spray a little bit of water on here, not much, because if I spray too much, the watercolor becomes diluted and less colorful. So I'm going to come in here and paint this in very quickly right across the trees. And I don't want the sky to be too intense, but I also want it to have a little bit of color. So I'm painting right into the trees, not trying to.
Did you spray?
I sprayed a little bit up in here. Not,
okay.
I just wanted to make the watercolor flow a little bit more.
Okay.
I'm going to take a little bit more raw sienna here, and I'm going to put it down in here, right across the lower part of the sky and just above the house, so that the trees will kind of meld into it later on. So it's very simple as far as this starts. Now I'm going to take the cobalt blue, since that's our cooler blue, and I'm going to wash in some of the cast shadows on the house. And I'm going to take the toothbrush with just water on it to help disperse this in a more natural looking way. And I don't mind if it kind of spreads a little bit, that's fine. I'm going to go right over the shadow part of the house here, because that will work well with glazing across it later on with some of the warm color. I'm going to bring in some cool color down in here into the tree. And then we have a little bit of color back in here. And I'm going to tone down the garage at the same time. So I'm trying to combine as much as I can uh, in this. And I'm going to take the ultramarine a little bit more here. And I'm just going to kind of drift it across through here with the cast shadows. So that everything is somehow tied together. And I'm using the cooler blue to do this, which is the cobalt blue in this case.
Wait, for by the houses, you added some ultra to do the cast shadows in the snow.
No, I added cobalt. Did I say ultra?
Okay. I might have misheard. Okay. So pretty much you've just been doing cobalt the whole time ever since you got to the roots.
And raw sienna, a little bit different start than what I usually do. I'm trying to make this all hold together in one fashion or another. Now I'm going to take a lot of water here and tone this down so that what I'm doing here at this point is kind of having a tint base. It's almost like a ghost wash on this when I'm doing this. Now, what I'm going to do very quickly is I'm going to take the sap green and the ultramarine blue and a little bit of the brown madder. Now, the brown madder is kind of a replacement for the burnt sienna. And while this was drying up in here, I'm going to take just a dry brush here. I'm going to pat this off on a paper towel because I feel that it's probably ready. Yes, it is. This will not dissipate that much at this point into the rest of the wash, but it will be a softer edge to it, which is what I was looking for. I don't want any harsh edges at this point.
Did you add more brown?
I added a little bit of the brown madder.
Okay.
Now I'm adding a little bit more ultramarine blue. And I'm going to feed it up in here so that it kind of shows up a little bit differently than what I normally do. And then down into the ground here. Now you see that the color that I put down originally is starting to combine with this just a little bit. And I'm going to take a little bit of ultramarine blue here with that mixture. And I'm going to paint in the pine tree in the background here. That way everything is kind of soft, fuzzy. And then I'm going to take this pine tree and I'm going to be very, very quick about it. I'm not going to dawdle around, but I do want to have all this softness that should be showing up at this point. And I can kind of dry brush it so that you're seeing things a little bit differently than what you normally see. Then we're going to add a little bit more brown matter, and I'm going to block this in back here. So everything has a softer feeling to it. Now I'm adding more blue to this over here for underneath.
Which blue? Which blue? Is it ultra or cobalt?
Ultramarine blue, sorry.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add more of the green and some raw sienna to this. As I move up the tree here, it's going to get a little bit warmer. And I'm going to take the toothbrush and I'm going to re-wet the area because it's fairly dry. I just want this to kind of drift a little bit more. So it's the timing of putting on the watercolor at this point. I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine blue to it, a little bit more. This will be the last of the first wash. So you can see it's a little bit drier up there. So that's the first wash. So what I did is I sprayed the sky and with a little bit of water, and I started off with cobalt and a little bit of raw sienna. And then as I went down, I added more raw sienna down towards the horizon. And then I continued with the cobalt blue through the foreground here onto the house, everything that was in shadow. And I'm going to hit this up here just a little bit with a little bit of water while it's still wet. And then I came out front with more cobalt blue stronger because it's going to be a little bit cooler. And then I went into the trees and I started right here with the sap green and a little bit of the brown matter, a little bit of the, I think it was ultramarine or cobalt, doesn't make any difference. And while this was still wet, I started putting this in so that these bled quite nicely. And then I added more of the green in here and graded down a little bit more with the brown matter. Then I added a little bit more brown matter to it over here. And then I went over here and made this tree a little bit warmer, a little bit greener. And I'll go in here later on, darken up a few things. I just want to hit this with a little bit of water in here so that we remain soft. And then I stop so that we have the sky, the foreground, cast shadows across the house, and the trees.
Hey, the last tree you said warmer. How did you make it warmer?
It's less gray and it's a little bit warmer. These are a little bit cooler because they've got a little bit more blue in it, and they've also been grayed down with the brown matter. So this one is not as grayed down as these two. And then I added more brown matter back here because we have back here some trees that are showing a little bit more warmth.
Yeah, but the colors you used on the last set of trees.
That was the sap green, a little bit of the ultramarine blue, and some brown matter with a lot of water so that they're light. I'd rather have them, in this case, Judith, too light and not dark.
Okay. Okay.
Let me get a picture of this. Okay.
Hey, Dale, are you ready to see?
Just a minute, he went to change the water out.
Oh, okay.
No, I got something else. All right, go ahead.
Okay. So my central tree is too robust, but
Okay, good.
let's see. I'm getting overhead light again.
No, you're still fine.
Okay.
You're good.
So just stop there.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, you can do a tint on the front of the house up in here.
I can do a what?
A tint of that blue up on
Okay.
on the roof a little bit, that little
Yeah.
tint, and then the front.
Okay.
I see you had a lot of storms come through Nebraska this last week. Tornadoes and what have you. You're on mute.
Yes, and that is not different from usual. So, you know, we just roll with it and go on.
Yeah. They had some pretty nasty things come through southern Wisconsin too.
yesterday.
Yeah, I've seen that. Wisconsin's been,
The western part and the southwestern part down by Prairie du Chien on the Mississippi, and it came roaring through there. I never saw what kind of damage it did, though.
yeah, we've had just high winds with these moving fronts.
Yeah,
All kinds of tree branches down. I mean, there's a big branch down my front yard right now,
yeah.
and I held about 8 branches out of my flower garden yesterday. So these things are just, oh my.
Yeah, because even what was it, Galena, Des Moines,
I know that area.
got hit pretty bad. I again didn't get a final report, but it was like, geez, they were getting nailed all over the place out there.
Yeah,
Very strange weather overall, though. You
I know. Yeah.
you don't get.
And in Alaska.
And Alaska had the earthquake out towards the Aleutian Islands, and
Oh, that's right. Right. I heard
And
about
they were
that. That's
expecting
bizarre.
possible
Yeah.
tsunamis.
Yeah.
And then we have, what was it? Mount Rainier is starting to erupt.
No.
Yeah. And
Oh my God.
the other strange thing that we saw is that all the grizzly bears are evacuating by themselves out of Yellowstone, which tells you something's going on.
Oh no.
Usually animals are a lot more
Perceptive.
perceptive on what's going on. So you just wonder, because most of Yellowstone is a huge volcano.
Exactly. It's like a magna cone there that just has not been active.
Right.
But
And
man, if it goes, it will really go.
because the birds are leaving, and the grizzlies are leaving. Something else was going on.
Cougars.
Oh,
I would get out of Yellowstone so fast.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is if that erupts or blows up, and it's the intensity that's they talk about, it's going to put most of the United States in darkness.
Oh my.
So that does the end of sunbathing. And we'll see it out this way, but not like they'll see it out west.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah. So I'm going to bring a little painting over and show you something.
Yeah.
This is connected to everything we're talking about.
She is the student you always wished I would be. You gotta love her. Here we go, Dale.
All right. You're fine. You're good.
Good. Wow.
Janet, you are the student that I
You always wished I would be.
no, I didn't say that. You did.
Okay, now
Okay.
this is a painting I did of I got light shining out.
That's all right. I told
About-
you that.
The Guadalupe River in Kerrville, Texas.
Okay.
And why did I do this is because no, I'm not, we're losing it again. We used to live in Texas, and Guadalupe was my favorite river, and we spent a lot of time in Kerrville, and so all of this stuff that's been going on,
Yeah.
it's just unbearable, you know.
It's
So much loss.
all those children that disappeared, died.
I know.
There was one man that was trained in finding people in a situation like that.
He's in the Coast Guard.
He's in the Coast Guard, and he found how many?
132 people.
He found 132 people alive, which is remarkable. And then another man who's trained in that way, he found a young lady clinging to a tree, a child, 20 miles downstream.
Oh my.
Survived.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you, I mean that. So that one camp really got, you know, obliterated. But the place is full of camps. That's what they do there.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of unforgivable that they they had those cabins in the floodplain and that they didn't have.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was
they
like,
say,
it was 100-year flood type thing too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
people that put houses, whatever, on riverfronts are taking a chance.
Well, look at the Mississippi.
Yeah, and camps.
Mississippi
I mean,
River
of all,
Back in the 90s.
back in the 90s, the Mississippi got terrorized by flooding. And there was one young man who was cheating on his wife, and he was across the other side of the river, but he had created dynamite charges to the bank and blew it up so that he couldn't get back. But it took out so many 100-year-old farmhouses along with his wife. And it's just like, okay, this guy's somewhere in jail right now, obviously, but it's like, really?
that's crazy. I mean, I tell you,
People are crazy.
whether it's bad, people are maybe worse.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, we're ready to start again?
Yeah,
Okay.
let me get rid of
I am going to change something before we continue on. This little portico here, I'm going to take off, and I don't like it. I shouldn't have put it in. And I'm going to put a doorway and a window over here. So this is gone over here. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with the doorway as soon as I recheck some things. Okay. I'm going to put the door in right about here. And a window, a vent up in here. I would need this side of the house a little bit cleaner looking than what it came off as. And another window right here. It's just that portico made this a little bit more complicated when it doesn't have to be. So I just took out that portico and put in the doorway and a couple of windows, just indication. Okay. Next thing is I need to go in and we need to put in the color of the house. And I'm going to take the raw sienna first with a little bit of the green, not much. That was too much. There we go. And I'm going to put in the bottom of the brick. They have a brick siding on the house. It's not too far from us. It's just off of a logging road that's up here. And it's at the end of the logging road, and it's just about where it hits civilization.
So that's raw sienna and
Raw sienna, a little bit of green that I'm going
a
to
little bit of green. Okay.
Not too much. And I'm going to add a little bit of blue to it, just to slightly gray it into the shadow here. And I'm kind of bumping it around the
Which blue?
Which blue then?
ultramarine blue. I'm sorry. So it gives the base of the house. It's an applied brick that they did back in the 40s. And I'm going to take a little bit of pure raw sienna here, and I'm going to put it in right here just to warm this up a bit. Now, I'm going to go back into the garage that's back here, which is a very simple structure. And I'm going to take a little bit of the same color with some cobalt blue in it, just to gray down the whole thing, like so. And the side of the building here. like so. And I'm going to leave it set there a little bit, and I'm going to go and work back on these pine trees. I want this to set in so that I don't have to paint around too much. So I'm going to start off with the green here, mixing up right into the mixture that I had here at the raw sienna with some ultramarine blue and a little bit of the brown madder, just to slightly gray it. There we go. And then I'm going to tap it off on the paper towel. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to dry brush in. And I'm using the side of the Chinese calligraphy brush. And I'm going to use a little bit of raw sienna up towards the top, just to slightly warm it. And it's all dry brushing. Then I'll take a little bit of the darker as I come down towards the bottom. A little bit more ultramarine blue. So that I can play the contrast of the tree off the house a little bit better. And a little bit more blue again, so that I can go down between the house and the garage, overlapping the garage. So it kind of comes out about like that. So we're getting that fairly dark. Sometimes I can just tap the brush down and I'll get what I need to on this. Now I'm going to go to the tree in the background here that's behind the garage. And I took a little bit of the brown matter with that green I initiated on this. And I'm going to just kind of dry brush this in. Very casually. I don't want any attention brought to it. It's just something that has to be put in the background. And as I come down a little bit further, I'm going to add a little bit more dark back here and kind of drag it off onto the building itself on top of the roof there. And put that dark in just along through there. So it warms up and is grayed down quite a bit. Now, this here should be dry enough to start. So I'm going to take the brown matter, mix it up with the color I just put back here, and with enough water in it. And I'm going to block in the base of the house here, the base color. Not worried about the windows or anything. And I'm going to add a little bit of cobalt blue to it off on the other side that's in shadow. And what I'll do up here is I'll add a little bit of cast shadow in here, which is fine. The windows I'll worry about later. Even if it bleeds in a little bit, that's fine. It won't hurt anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the paper towel here where it did seep in, and I'm going to go ahead and just hit it with the paper towel that it will take up the line that I'm still looking for. And that should fix that at a certain point here. Now, leaving that alone, I'm going to go back into the trees. I'm going to go into this tree here and then this one over here. I'm going to be very careful on not overstating this back here. So I'm going to take the tree that is up front here with in the same color, and I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine to this, which I just did, and I'm going to start by dry brushing this in. And then wipe off on the sponge to get a little bit of that excess paint off. Then I'm going to add a little bit more green to it. Then as I come down into the center of the tree, right in here, I'm going to add a little bit more dark to it here and there. And then carry this on down, still allowing the original wash to show through. And I'm going to overlap that onto the house here. Still dry brushing. Right into what I just painted. And then down onto the ground here a little bit. So that the tree has got kind of a different shape to it than most pine trees. It is a different type of pine tree. I think it's a tamarack, or what we call a cedar up here. And I'm adding some more dark in here to a certain extent. So I added more ultramarine blue to it, quite a bit in fact. And just adding punctuation of some darks in there. Now, I'm going to go to this tree over here, which we're using more green. So I'm adding more green, a little bit of raw sienna to this, especially in this area right here. And it gets a little bit darker up there. So I'm going to dry brush this in. Still leaving some of the original wash show through. Then I'll take a little bit of ultramarine. We're going to make this a little bit darker off over in this area. And I'm being very casual with this one. A little bit more ultramarine again. And then down towards the bottom, more ultramarine blue where it's receiving less light, allowing it to kind of overlap the house a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a wet, clean brush, dry it off a little bit, and I'm going to manipulate that just a slight bit and add a few darks in here up against the overhang of the building there, and allow it to kind of drift down into the snow. And then I'm going to take my 1-inch brush that's clean, and I'm going to pull out just a few lights here and there. And I'll probably go back into this, but not a lot. I don't want to overstate it. And I'm putting some darks underneath the boughs of the branches here and there. Give it a little bit of character up on top. and a little bit more character right in here. There we go. Like so. Now, the last thing I'm going to work on is these trees in the background right here. And I'm going to take the cobalt blue with a little bit of that green, not much. And I'm just going to very quickly go across these. And they will stay in the background because they're going to be cooler. Then what I'm going to do is take a paper towel, just wet a small piece. I'm going to wet it, squeeze out all the extra water, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to pull out some of the lights that I want to kind of show in here. And the last thing is I'm going to try to regain that line here of brick here and here. It's going to get darker, but I needed to establish that. And the very last thing is I'm going to take the cobalt blue with a little bit of that green, very slight little bit here, not too much. And I'm going to tint alongside the house in here so that this color will meld up into what's around it. A little bit more blue. And some more blue in here. And I'm going to add a little bit of blue up in the roof here, a little bit more intense. That's the cobalt blue. And some up here on the peak. And a little bit down in here, just to cover those light spots. And then I'm going to take just a damp brush and I'm going to kind of soften that a little bit. And I keep on losing this little brick facade here. That's better. It'll come out to being much better. And then I'm going to soften this over here, just with a brush that is a little bit on the damp side, so that now the house is kind of surrounded by these pines and so forth. Then I'll take the toothbrush with a little bit of that cobalt blue on it. Like so, and we'll play with the snow in the building next time around. So what I did is I went into the trees. This tree is the darker tree. This is second, and I'm probably darkening a few things here later. And then I went in with this with a little bit of cobalt blue and a green. And this was a little bit more of the brown, which we'll play with that later. But we got the house blocked in with the faux brick down at the bottom, or whatever you want to call it. We got the tree up in here casting a shadow. And then I didn't do anything down here at this point. So keep it simple. Don't overmix your color. And I'm going to get some clean water and clean my tray off.
Okay. Wait, well, Dale, on the brick on the house, that's a brown matter in
That's
there.
the brown matter and a little bit of the raw sienna, and I added just a touch of the cobalt blue. I mean, hardly any at all, just to slightly darken it.
Okay. Thank you.
But I put down the raw sienna with a little bit of green in it at the bottom first.
Yes, I got that. I just didn't get the house.
Okay. Make sure you get the darks on the pines dark enough especially on these three, especially these two. And let them spread out a little bit and give a variety of shape. Remember, we don't want them looking like Martha Stewart came through.
But Dale, the pine on the far left, yes, in the drawing there was a trunk, but it looks like we're taking
I will put the trunk in later.
okay, we're taking foliage essentially down to the ground, right?
Yeah, I took it all the way down to the ground.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is that there's pines behind that
Uh-huh.
that I'm going to darken in later on.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just didn't have it down far enough. So here it goes.
In fact, I forgot to prop this up so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. These two pines in front, I'm going to work on more. This one I'm leaving alone back here, so it
Okay.
has a little bit different look to it.
And you spritzed the snow down in front. Is that correct?
Yes, I did, just a little bit.
Okay. Is that the only thing we spritzed?
Um, yeah,
Okay. Did you use water or paint?
I used a little bit of paint down in
Okay.
there.
Okay. Got it.
Not too much.
Okay. Okay, so this is what I have so far.
Let me take a look here. Okay, good.
And then there's that camera
Yeah,
zeroing everything out again. I guess it just doesn't like. I'm sorry.
who
I mean,
knows?
there really is paint in there.
Yeah,
The camera just won't show it. So I don't know what to do about that.
I have no idea. Um,
The first second you can see,
yeah,
and then
and then it
yeah,
fuzzes out,
yeah,
grabs all the light that's around it for some reason.
yeah. I turned off the overhead, but I'm still sitting next to a window.
Yeah, the window is probably the main thing.
Maybe I'll put some shade down.
Now try holding it up again.
Yeah, let's see what we
See
got.
what it looks like.
There's one more window I can
Oh,
shade.
that's much better.
Yeah, but there it goes. I'll go get that other window.
That's good.
There's three of them in a row. I did two.
Very strange.
Yeah. Okay, let's try again. There's the colors.
Okay, that's now it does it a little bit, but not
Yeah,
as it was
but
before.
not as extremely.
Yeah, you're fine. That's good.
Okay, good. Good. I'm gonna go get fresh water. I'll be right back.
All right. Get some wine for yourself too.
Yeah.
Wine for everybody. Well, it's 5 o'clock someplace.
Wine with our high tea.
This- How you doing, Janet? Don't shake your head no. All right, you're getting there. A few more things on the pine trees, you're done. I'll get it. I'm gonna get the door just a minute. You stay. Okay, I'm back. It was a neighbor. How you doing, Janet? I got to get started again. Is that all right? Okay, good. All right. All right, we're going to go back into the house in the foreground and a couple things in the back. Put the gnomes in the trees. All right, I'm going to add a couple things here. Let me straighten this out a little bit. There we go. I want to add to this tree here, overlapping on the house to get that out of the way. So I'm taking the green and a little bit of the blue and a touch of the brown matter here. A little bit more green and a touch of the raw sienna. And I'm going to add some water to that. And I'm going to bring this out to overlap the house a little bit to cover the corner. Like so, and then bring it out a little bit up in here. And then I'm going to kind of equalize it out on the other side here just a little bit more and darken the bottom so that it will contrast against the house just a little bit more. Now, I'm going to mix up the brown matter here with a little bit of the cobalt blue. I need to get that a little bit darker. And I'm going to start on this side over here. And adding a little bit more ultramarine blue to it into the areas that I feel it needs to be a little bit darker. And I'm going to paint around the window that I put in over here. Going to add a little bit of green to that to give it a little bit more brownish look. So we're getting a lot of contrast on the house at this point, especially in the shadow areas. But I'm painting around the windows. And I'm going to add a little bit more blue to it again, which will brown it up. Most of this side is in shadow anyways. And I'm going to paint around the window that I have over here and into the pines so that we have a lot of good contrast with this. So now it's really going to pop for us. So I'm going to add a little bit more brown matter to this, remix some of the color up, and a little bit more ultramarine blue. And I'm going to start painting on the other side, but I'm going to add a little bit of raw sienna to this so that it's picking up some of the light. And this is a little bit darker in here. Cover that up. I'm going to make this a little bit darker up near the eaves here, where we get a cast shadow. And painting around the door and the window that I put in. So this is receiving a little bit more light over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out, after it sits there just a little bit of light here and there. And then go in and make the eave a little bit darker, the overhang on the eave a little bit darker here. Now I'm going to take the raw sienna with a little bit of this color I mixed up for this side. And I'm going to put in the base of the brick again. And I'm just going to let it bleed in a little bit more. And this side will be a little bit darker. With the window showing there. And I'm going to drag some of that color down. That's the window there. And the doorway underneath the eave there. And I'm going to take a little bit of the cobalt blue with a little bit of this color in it, just so it's slightly grayed down. And I'm going to put that across through here. And then we have this darkness underneath the eave here, or inside. And then grab a little bit more cobalt blue. And what I really want is, I think I need a little bit of cast shadow up on this ridge up here. And a little bit more color in the cast shadow on the roof over here. And kind of more abstract looking. Now I'm going to go back to the garage back here while this dries so I can lighten up some of the windows and stuff. I'm going to add a little bit of an accent of the brown matter off over here just to warm it up a bit. And then an accent of a little bit darker little bit here and there back over there. So the house is starting to take a little bit better shape at this point. Now, it has the green on there. I'm going to minimize that, but I'm not worried about it right now. I'm going to take a little bit of this color that I put down for the bottom before, and I'm going to put this in shadow back here with a little bit of blue. Very casual, and across through the underneath part of the eave here. And some description for the windows and doors. And then I'm going to put the roof mostly in shadow from something that's over here. We just need to tone it down a bit from what it was. Now I'm going to pull out some things in the windows here. And I'm going to take my 1-inch brush here and pull this out a little bit more. And I'll trim it out later just so that we can see that happening a little bit over here. And then soften the bottom of this. So it's a matter of sculpting out a few things up in here. I need a little bit more light up in there, which is better. And then I'm going to take the bottom of this again, and I'm going to soften that. And I'm going to take a little bit of the cobalt blue that's slightly grayed down and put it through here. And it's going to drift in a little bit. I'll just stop it from doing that. Now, I'm going to go through the foreground here with the cobalt blue. And make it a lot stronger. I'm going to tone down this side over here a little bit. Just so we don't have the white stripe going all the way across. And intensifying the blue a little bit more around the house so that there's a better contrast of warm and cool. And I'm going to take the toothbrush and soften this a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of green to it, not much, just a tiny bit. That's way too much. There we go.
What did you add green to? We couldn't see that part of your palette.
That was to the cobalt.
Okay.
That was to this in here. And that's just to bring some of the green down into the foreground a little bit. And I'm going to add a little bit up around the house. Kind of connect some of the shadow. And I'm going to tone that down just a little bit. And at this point, I'm being quite casual about it. I don't want this to be too exact, but I am going to go along and pull this up off the tape so it doesn't bleed in. And then pull out my Chinese brush here. And I'm going to kind of tone the snow down just a little bit because I don't want it to conflict with the roof up here too much. So I'm taking just a damp brush and kind of bringing in the blue-green here a little bit with the raw sienna and the cobalt blue. And just kind of breaking up that white line that goes across there. Now, what I'm going to do at this point, I needed to debate whether I was going to put in the green trim on the house. I don't feel I want to, but I'm going to put that tree in the background by using some of the color that I have over here that's kind of a warmish brown. And I'm going to go ahead and put the tree in starting just at the top of the roof. And then I'm going to bring the rigger in for the final handling of the smaller branches. And the last thing I'll do is I'll work with the white gouache in the next phase. But I wanted to get this pine tree taken care of and the windows on the house. So I'm just adding in a few branches here and there. And that kind of distinguishes the top part of the roof here, or shows where it starts and stops. Now, the last thing is I'm going to add some of the dark underneath the tree here. This light that's trapped between the house and the tree has got to be toned down. So I'm going to take a little bit of the cobalt blue that's grayed down. And I'll leave a little bit of the white. And I'm going to darken in this just a little bit more. And all the final details will be added as we move through it. So I'm going to take this green here with more ultramarine blue and a little bit of the brown matter. And I'm going to punctuate this dark down in here. And I'll put in the trunk later. Now I'll take the bigger brush and a little bit more green. And I'm going to go underneath the boughs of the pine tree here and accentuate them a little bit darker than what's in the photograph. Still leaving the light of some of the boughs on here. But trying to keep it, again, very casual. And then I'll pull out the pine trunk that we can work with later. Right in here. And I'll pull out a little bit up in here. think I'll put another trunk right here, a smaller one. And I'll put in the pine branches later. And the last thing, while this is still wet, I'm going to take a little bit of cobalt blue and I'm going to spritz in, and all the detail on the house will be put in on the last thing with a little bit of the white gouache. So I'm just spritzing this in just a little bit. Like so. And I'm going to put in a little bit of darkness up above the window and the door. And since the sunlight's coming down this way, the right side of it will be in shadow. And we still need the post holding these up. And we'll stop at this point, and all the detail will be put on in the next phase fairly quick. Let me get a picture of this. And I'll put it up on the water bucket so you can see it better. A lot of detail will be put into the snow in the house, and we'll see what we have left, but there's not a lot left to do. So I concentrated on overlapping this tree a little bit more, filling this space in so there's not that light trapped behind. Painted around the windows with the dark brown matter and a little bit of the green in it and a little bit of the blue. I think it had green in it. And then the foreground, I darkened up a little bit and tried to break up that line going across, which I have to do a little bit more to that.
No, she's on the sofa, yeah.
Your pleasure. It's funny, we're still not up to 2 inches of rain after all that rain.
This is the August one, right?
Yeah, that's, the August.
No, I don't need it. I just want to make sure that's what it was.
Any questions at all? Any answers?
Uh,
How did you end up in Nebraska from Texas?
oh, I got an offer to teach at University of Nebraska Lincoln,
Oh, okay.
and it's one I really wanted. I was my I'm retired now, but my specialty was what's called literacy,
Yeah,
which is teaching teachers how to teach reading, writing, that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And I got a chance to run the reading center, which I liked a lot. So I didn't retire until 70. I just loved what I was doing.
I can understand that.
Yeah. But now I am so happy to be retired. So
Yeah,
it's,
literacy was the biggest one of the biggest advancements in the 20th century.
well, yeah.
Then it started going downhill with the government taking over the educational department.
Oh, God, yeah. Well,
No
it's
child
a
left behind.
right. It's a tough uphill pull in any circumstances because
Yes, it is.
the kids are so variable, and I was specialized in the kids who would test for special ed, and I mean there wasn't a single one of them that was just like another one,
Yeah,
So everybody keeps trying to regularize it and make it one thing, but it's not one thing.
no. I had
So
a third grade teacher in my studio class back in Indiana, and when they instituted that No Child Left Behind,
right.
they were doing was studying the questions and the answers for the test so that they funding
Yeah.
in the grade school. She was teaching third grade. She finally gave up because there was when they closed down the Robert Taylor homes in Chicago,
And Cabrini Green and all those.
Caprini Green and all the
Oh yeah, I remember those things. Yeah.
bad neighborhoods and stuff. They sent all the people with their vouchers to Indiana. And these kids are coming to class, third graders. That means they're 8 years old with knives and threaten the teacher. I'm going to stab you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to do this.
I'm going to cut you.
I'm going to cut you. And
Yeah.
they had some of the parents come in complaining about she was trying to teach them manners on how to say yes, please, and so forth. And one of the fathers came in and started threatening her, don't you tell me how I'm going to raise my child. She said, I'm not telling you how to raise your child. I'm just trying to teach them manners in class so that when they go out in the world, they know how to treat other people. And
Yeah.
it was about 2 weeks later after that, she quit. She said, I've had enough.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
was not, she was a good teacher.
Yeah.
And this No Child Left Behind just threw everything into a tizzy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It would be better to my mind, it would be better if everybody just butted out of the classroom and let the teachers figure out how to help the specific kids in front of them. And
Yeah.
there's not a teacher in the classroom who's not there to help the kids. So it's not as if you got the wrong people teaching or something like that. You don't. You've got the right people teaching.
That's a tough thing because we had a friend that was part of our art league that taught the what was it, the
She taught kids that were had disabilities like dyslexia.
yeah, disabilities like dyslexia and so forth.
Yeah, yeah,
She was really a tough teacher, but the students appreciated her that much more.
She taught the toughest part of Chicago.
Yeah, she taught at the toughest part of Chicago. And
yeah.
that is a great feat just getting down there, let alone teaching.
And she
Yeah.
a lot of kids that were dyslexic once she showed them, or she helped their little brothers and sisters read better. Then they just thought the world of her.
Yeah. Plus, we had a neighbor that was, at one time was one of the head nurses of neurology at University of Illinois, and she got her PhD in
Allergy science
allergies and
geriatrics.
And she'd go down to Cabrini Green and try to help these people, and the gang members would stop her from going. She says, "I'm here to help you. Get out of my way now."
No, I'm here to help your little brothers
Yeah,
and sisters.
to help your little brothers and sisters. And she'd go in and help these kids in all sorts of different ways. And later on, when she come in, they just part and let her in.
Good.
Like the Red Sea party.
Yeah.
I bet. Oh my.
Tiny little Swedish woman.
Yeah.
And she said she put her goat horns on, and she had a mission to help all those little kids because the biggest allergy problem was cockroaches.
Yeah.
And she showed the mamas how to take care of that.
But she got it done.
Yeah.
All I know is you wouldn't want to mess with her.
Well, I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, and she was a very sweet lady on top of it too.
They were so upset with their living conditions that they gave her a binder of photos of the horrible environment these people were living in that nobody would do anything about. Like from the lights are out in the hallway, that at night you have to kind of have a flashlight to see where you're going.
Yeah.
To the filth that was inside, and they were hoping that she could share it with somebody so they could see what they had to put up with. And
Yeah.
she said these were
Wow.
She said that it just ripped her heart out because these were nurses and ambulance drivers and firemen and policemen and school teachers and workers that busted their chops, and they were living in this crap. We saw the binder, it just made us cry. So she did help them.
Yeah, she helped out a lot.
That's good. From my point of view, the story is always that it is an individual
Yeah.
who just undertakes the task.
Well, I'm glad I'm not teaching in Chicago anymore because they were recruiting from neighborhoods with these kids coming in with all sorts of things. And it's just like the last semester I was there, I had this very large fella that had 3 personalities that attacked me, pushed my desk up against the wall, flipped it. And I only had 2 guys in class that pulled him off. And I told him to sit down and start behaving like a student. And they had already kicked him out of school the day before, and they didn't tell me. And I had to call the Chicago police in because they wouldn't have gone upstairs and back me up.
That's amazing.
Well, things got a little scary down there after a while. But that's what happens sometimes when you're dealing with a private owner that was only interested in the money coming in and not the quality of the education and the students.
Yeah, that's too bad. I mean,
Especially the school had been around for 100 years.
Yeah,
And
it'd
Dale
been-
and I went there, and it was, well, just to tell a little story, my brother taught at Harvard, and my mom and dad were, where do we send Marilee for art school? Because they had no idea if it was even, they kind of thought I would get the MRS degree, and I never had a career. So they asked my brother, and he went to the art department at Harvard, and they told him in the mid 70s that it was Rhode Island School of Design was number one, number two was Pratt in New York City, and number three was the American Academy of Art, Chicago. Well, my mom and dad got really excited that I would be close to home, so the other two were out of the question. And the school was incredible. The
Yeah.
talent that came out of that school was amazing. And then when this new owner bought it, he didn't care about
He ruined it.
the quality of teaching. All he cared about was money.
In fact, the school closed this last year.
yeah, you,
100
yeah.
years.
Which school again?
American Academy of Art. And then Marilee met this clown that she married.
I couldn't help his dashing good looks and his ability to paint polar bears just won me over.
Hey, what can I say?
Oh my.
His jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
had me laughing.
Yeah.
And I was searching for a young lady that had great parents and so forth. And the ones I found, thank God they had a wonderful daughter.
Well, sounds like a good combination.
Yeah. He always introduced me as his favorite son-in-law. And then he'd hesitate and he'd say, well, he's my only son-in-law, but
But he'll still claim you, huh?
yeah. And he was my favorite father-in-law.
Well, good. Get on that
He's
one.
my only father-in-law, but he was my favorite. He's a good guy.
Good. Okay, Dale, I'll take, we'll do input now and see what,
you have.
yeah. Oh, good.
Okay, good. You could probably strengthen your blue through the foreground here
Okay.
a little bit more and then break up that white stripe going across.
Yeah. Once again, it's what you're seeing is distorted, but
Yeah, I know it is. I have to judge it and then look at it.
yeah.
But you're
So
doing
still
fine.
more blue and break up the white.
That's good.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep. And thank God he had a sense of humor. He allowed me to marry his daughter. We're up to a whole 58 degrees now.
Ooh.
It's been a lot better than the low 90s and high 80s with humidity.
Oh, geez, yeah.
We don't have any air conditioning in the house, so
Oh.
Don't need it
we
really.
really don't need it. We had the fans going at night, moving the air in and around, and it actually did quite well at night, as long as I could sleep.
Yeah, I grew up in Illinois, and
Oh,
is what you're describing exactly. I mean, nobody had air conditioning in those days.
Oh,
They
no,
do
no.
they do now.
My
But
dad didn't even have air conditioning in the car until after we all moved out. And I go,
yeah,
"You have air conditioning." You know, we used to ride for 8 hours in the car up here as a kid with the windows open, and
right.
your hair looked like, you know, you were in a blast furnace. So where did you live in Illinois?
The town is called Henry, and it's about 30 miles north of Peoria.
Oh, okay.
It's a small river town. It's on the Illinois River.
Yeah.
And I have no idea. I mean, I guess it was a farmer town to begin with. It had about 2,000 people in it. And it was a great place to be a kid. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel so lucky for all the outdoor time and run around time and goof off time
Oh,
and
you
so
have,
on. It was
you have to have goof off time.
I think we
Yeah.
had the best childhoods.
Yeah.
yeah.
None of the things that are going on nowadays that you're wondering what's going to be next.
Yeah, and then kids with the damn screens and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they're showing commercials on TV now. They're featuring babies less than a year interacting with screens. And these are commercials for the Spectrum, which is a internet provider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell their services on the basis that it's good for your infant. I can't believe. Oh, bad fantasy.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we we don't have kids, but we used to watch our really good friends, Brent and Terry, and they just throw their child right in front of the PlayStation or throw a screen in front of them as a babysitter. And I thought, boy, that's gonna bite them on the butt later on.
And it did. Unfortunately, both of them have passed away now, and they were younger than us.
Oh dear.
They had cancer.
Cancer on both of them.
Wow.
The husband just passed away
2 years ago.
3 years ago, actually.
Almost.
It was when we were moving up to Wisconsin, we found out he had passed away. And it was a shame. And she died a few years before that with breast cancer.
Wow.
Now we had another couple who would throw their son in front of the video. And then one day they realized before he turned 5 that their parents took him to the symphony, they took him to the art museum, they took him to plays. And so they had to come up with a compromise with them. For every art museum we take you to, we'll let you go to a baseball game, or we'll let you have so many hours in front of the video screen. So, and their son turned out pretty good. In fact, he's one smart booger, but
Yeah. But it doesn't always work out that way. Plus, we didn't have all this processed prepared food.
when we were kids.
Yeah, when we were kids, it was like you had a bottle of pop maybe on the weekend, that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Cheerios.
And some Cheerios occasionally, but you look at the aisle of cereal, which we were just at the grocery store the other day. It's a full aisle, both sides, and it's like the closest grocery store we had was a jeweler, an A&P back then, and there were about 5 aisles in the store. And it was like you had a little bit of cereal. You had a choice of maybe 6 or
Right.
7. Now there's like 107 choices, all
Yeah.
sorts.
Yeah. Where were you talking about, Dale?
I grew up in Glen Ellen, Illinois.
In where?
Glen Ellen, Illinois.
Okay.
30 miles west of Chicago.
Sure.
And then my parents were vacationing up here when I was a year old. They came up, and my mom was pretty sick, and the doctor told them that she needs to be by herself, and he takes care of the kids, no cooking. And my dad
Wow.
found a resort on a lake not far from here,
Wow.
where we're at now. And he went down to the Sportsman Show in Chicago, and his brother was hawking this guy's resort that
Yeah.
the parents went to. And the meals were free for kids for breakfast and dinner. Lunch, you were on your own. And you had the lake there and a lodge. And the cabins were not that great, but we spent 4 years there.
Wow.
My dad bought property down the lake for $5 a foot, which was incredible. And no house on it. and there was a carpenter building the house on the 200 feet next to the property, and my mom fell in love with the house. It wasn't big, but it was nice. And he went and talked to my dad about selling the house. So we were there in the spring, and in the fall we went up. And my dad says, "You guys, you go take the kids ahead, and I'm going to talk to." His name was Simon Reed, and my dad approached him and said, "How would you like to trade deeds and I buy the house?"
Wow.
Got down off his ladder and they shook hands, $25 down, and we went to town, which was about 16 miles, and flipped the deeds, put my dad's name on one and his name on the other. And my mom was looking all over for him. He says, "Where you been for the last hour?" He says, "Well, we own the house next door." He was tickled pink.
That's amazing.
I spent my childhood summers up here, a week at Thanksgiving, 2 weeks at Christmas, and a couple weekends here and there.
You gotta tell her about the when the refrigerator was delivered, how
Oh,
delivered.
my mom and dad had the refrigerator delivered. It came up on the Chicago Northwestern train from Sears and Roebuck.
Yeah.
And Simon picked up the refrigerator on a horse-drawn flatbed,
Oh my God.
and he brought it out to the house. And this was at Thanksgiving. And he brought it out to the house, and he took us kids back to town on the sleigh and then drove us back.
What a wonderful, wonderful memory. That's just magic there.
Yeah, it was. It was something that most kids didn't have, so I was very fortunate, very blessed as far as that goes.
Yeah. That's very good.
And then we retired up here. Well, kind of retired. We're still.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a lot of teaching.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
And painting.
And painting and what have you.
yeah.
We haven't bought any antiques there. We don't have any room. We still got stuff in the basement, in the garage, in the house.
Well, I'm doing everything I can to get rid of it, to get rid of stuff. So I'm sure.
Yeah, we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We have some things we don't want to get rid of, and then things we have to get rid of. So we're slowly moving things.
Okay. Well, here's my amended. Oh, that's really dark now, really blue. But
Well, mine's quite blue up in here.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing
And
that.
too bad about that camera. Let's see if there's any way to. Well, that's more or less. Yeah. So
I got to get started again to finish this.
right,
Is that all right,
exactly.
Janet? Janet, is that all right? Let me see what you got. Okay, you need to get the rest of it's good, but you need to get this blue through here.
That's exactly what I was up to.
Okay. All right, I'm going to get
That I
started.
was on point.
Yeah. I'm going to finish this up. And we're going to start adding some of the opaque white and some details to the house. So I'm going to start with the house. And I'm going to take the white here that I have, just a little bit. And I'm going to add a little bit of, some raw sienna to it to start with. There we go. And I'm going to add a little bit of light up in front here. We got a little bit too dark. I could lift it, but I'm painting it translucently. So in other words, I have a lot of water in on the pigment so that what I'm putting down here will be showing through on what I've already painted, but I needed to add a little bit more. I'm going to take a little bit of that white again and take just a little bit of that raw sienna. And I'm going to lay it down where I kind of made a mistake. I'm going to add a little bit of this up in here. Just a slight bit. And I'm going to add a little bit of light to the windows. So we get a little reflection there. I'm also going to take a little bit of the cobalt blue and add the white to that also. And then drag in a little bit of the raw sienna and add a lot of water to it. So again, it's translucent. And I'm going to do the same thing to the door, is I'm going to add a little bit of light in there, kind of dry brushing a little bit. And then a little bit of that color down at the bottom here. I can kind of drag that across like so. All this stuff is very minor compared to anything. I'm going to add a little bit of light in that window and then take my finger just to tone it down, because that glass is going to be very reflective of light to a certain extent. The only time you have dark windows is when there's no glass. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the cobalt down here with some water, and I'm going to tone the part of the roof that turns over. Because it's receiving less light. A lot of it's a lot of little accents and so forth that I think are needed just to push the color a little bit more. So I'm adding a little bit more white to the raw sienna and the cobalt blue. And I'm going to add some small accents of light here and there. Even though I took out the light in there, I still want that to show just a little bit. But a lot of it's a small amounts of light to give the snow a little bit more character. And kind of touch it up with my finger a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a dry brush with some of the white and the blue and the raw sienna, and I'm going to tap it off a little bit. And I want to show a little bit of snow on some of the branches up in here. Just to help break this up just a tad more. Not a lot, just a little bit here and there, more on this tree that's in the middle than the one over here. And usually there's more snow on the bottom branches because the upper ones end up with the wind blowing them off. Then I'll go down to the snow in the foreground here. And I want to add little touches of blue into the house. Still need to want to add a little bit more lightness to the front facade of brick here. Just a little bit. Then I want to take the brown matter and punctuate a few things in the house with that reddish brown. Again, not too much, but just enough that is in front here. And maybe just a little bit on the corner here, receiving a little bit of light. All these are minor accents at this point. Just to give it, again, a little bit more feeling. And I'm going to add a little bit of red back here to pull this color in. Now I'm going to take a little bit of that white with the blue in it and a little bit of the raw sienna. And I'm going to go along, starting at the house, and I'm going to start moving out. It's kind of dry brushing in a little bit of color or value change, actually. And I want to bring some green into the snow in a minute. So we're moving some of this color down into here. And I'm looking at the photograph a little bit now so that I can see where certain things need to be added to give it a little bit better look to it. This still needs to be lighter up in here. Now, I'm going to take the Chinese brush here, take a little bit of the green, and I'm going to mix it in with the white and a little bit of the blue and add a lot of water to it. And I'm going to start bringing in tints of green, a little bit here and there, and just kind of tint it in very, very lightly. Going to add a little bit of raw sienna to it. Tone down the background color just a slight bit. If it's too much, have your paper towel handy. But if I bring that green in, it will pull that color down and unite it a little bit more, give it a little bit more unity. I'm going to add a little bit more white to it. It'll have a tint of green, but not too much. going to do the same thing up here with just a little bit of that color. And a little bit up into the eaves up here, just to give that front a little bit more light. And then give the little bit of blue in this window here. And darken the blue up near the house where things are a little bit more in shadow. And then just for fun, because this always happens up here when it's shining bright sunlight, is we always get a little bit of drift of snow falling from the sky. Just a little bit, not too much. And I got a lot of water in this so that when it dries, it will be just dissipating just a little bit. But it always has a little bit of color in it. I never use straight white. This is a little bit thicker. And let's see what it looks like without the tape on it. And this is our last session of this 5 weeks. Next one starts next week. Come on. So that's where we ended up.
Very nice.
Let me put it up so you can see it closer. So I lightened up this side and I added a little bit of green to the snow. I added a little bit of snow on the branches, which is not sticking out too bad, which I didn't want it to. And then I added a few more blue accents of color here and defined a few things with the windows and the doors. For some reason, this is a little bit out of focus.
Touch the screen of the camera. So, it should help take it back. Just touch the screen and stop. Don't do it anymore.
It's still out of focus.
Well, just remember you had that again when you had it up on the paint bucket. Just
put it back down and it'll go back and focus. For some reason, since
Doesn't want to focus up there.
I upgraded the software,
Yeah.
something's happened.
I don't know what, but it did happen. So you may want to take a picture of this so you know where I ended up. And the painting from last night will be on Facebook by when? I mean, YouTube.
YouTube, on Friday, they'll get an email.
On Friday, you'll get an email on that you can watch that being painted again. And you can send me that picture, Judith, and I will
Oh,
put
yeah,
it
definitely.
in the next 5 weeks.
Okay, great. And I went ahead and registered already, so
Wonderful, thank you.
I'll be with you. Right, and here's where I am now.
All right. You can
So-
still make your pine trees a little bit darker, but the rest of it looks pretty good.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And yours is going sideways, Jan. You have to paint it the other way.
That's what I'm waiting. Here we go.
Okay. If you could make this tree here a little bit bigger, coming out a little bit more, because right now these two here are pretty close to the same size, and then this one is too much the same size. So if you can bring
Got
it out just a little bit more.
Sure.
And then just at the end, I was playing with the opaque, breaking up a few things here and there. I could probably play this a little bit more in here, which I might do afterwards, but not too much.
Okay.
Okay? You guys did well today.
You
Okay.
too.
Yeah. So thanks for the session, Dale, and I look forward to the next one.
Okay.
See you next week.
All right.
Okay, very good. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
And don't fall in the snow. You have a-
Uh-huh.